Welcome to the NFL MVP Momentum Podcast. I'm Sam Holcroft. Before I begin, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP, follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. So just me today. I'm going to run through our Week 8 picks, upsets, double downs, and overreactions. So recapping from last week, not a good week for any of us. We ended last week's podcast by saying, this is a good opportunity for someone to go 13-0, and well, it was not. It was not good. Only one of us went positive, and that's Zeke. He's still at the top of the leaderboard. He has 82 points. He went 7-6 last week, not getting his upset correct, but getting the double down. In second place is Sean with 76 points now. He went 3-10 last week and did not get his double down nor his upset. So that hurt him there. I climbed up into third, also 76 points. I had a little bit better record, 5-8, but I hit on my upset and double down, which I've been doing almost every week. And then Peyton fell down to last place. He's 74 points. He also went 3-10 with not hitting his upset or double down. So that's a look at the standings right now. Zeke with 82. Sean and I both have 76. He has a tiebreaker because he has more correct picks than me. And Peyton has 74. So moving on to our Overreaction Mondays. I did not mean to blur that out. We'll start off with Zeke since he's at the top of the leaderboard. And Zeke's overreaction is Tyreek Hill for MVP. A lot of these quarterbacks haven't been looking that good this year. And, we've talked multiple times. MVP goes to the quarterback on the best team. Well, who's the best team right now? Right now it's Chiefs by default, maybe. But Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing as good as we know he can be. Jalen Hurts has had a couple bad games. Josh Allen's had some bad games. Brock Purdy, hasn't been looking super spectacular except for maybe the first 2-3 weeks of the season. So this could be the year that Tyreek Hill can go for it. He almost has 1,000 yards. I think he's top 3 in receptions, yards, and I think he has the most touchdowns, averaging a touchdown a game. I think he also has most yak as well. So it's looking real good for Tyreek. So that's Zeke's overreaction. Sean's overreaction for this week is Dolphins might be Super Bowl frauds. And this is kind of hard for him to say because he's a Dolphins fan. But so far, the Dolphins have had 2 teams where they faced that have winning records, the Bills and the Eagles. And they've been outplayed in both of them, frankly. Defense doesn't look that good. Offense can't get anything going. The Dolphins can beat up on the Broncos. They can beat up on the Giants. But when they play good competition, they haven't been able to really get anything going. Now, they have a good tune-up game against the Patriots, and then I think in a week or two, they're going to be playing the Chiefs. So they're going to have to shape up if they want to actually try to be in the Super Bowl or maybe even win a playoff game. Because right now, when they're playing competition, they're not playing that good. My overreaction for the week is we're going to have a Super Bowl rematch. What team has impressed you in the AFC this year? Bengals are 3-3. The Bills are 4-3. They have lost to the Jets and the Patriots. They beat the Dolphins somehow, which you would have thought that maybe it was the other way around. They beat the Patriots, beat the Jets, but lose to the Dolphins. No, that's not it. Jaguars haven't looked spectacular. They have a good record. I think they're 4-2 now, maybe 4-3. But none of those teams really look that good. The Dolphins we just talked about haven't been playing good against good competition. So it's the Chiefs coming out of the AFC. And in the NFC, the 49ers have had 2 bad games back-to-back. Yeah, they've been dealing with the injury bug. Shocker, 49ers dealing with an injury bug. But, the Lions showed this last week that they have weakness. The Vikings are not the team that they were last year. The Cowboys has been shown that they can be beaten. So why not the Eagles? The Eagles look like the best team in the NFC right now, even though that they've been escaping a lot of games. They've been winning. They were right there with the Jets. They could have won that Jets. They could be the last undefeated team. So I think we're probably getting a Super Bowl rematch. That's my overreaction for the week. And Peyton's overreaction for the week is the Vikings can go on a run and turn their season around. They've won 2 of their last 3 now. No, I think their last 2 now. They beat the Bears, and now they beat the 49ers, a good 49ers team. Might be a little banged up, but their next 3 games, I believe, are very winnable games. They could be over 500 in these next 3 games and be kind of right back into that kind of playoff chase with winning or getting into the wild card, which is exactly what this team needs. 3 winnable games even without Justin Jefferson. And then when he comes back, they're back in contention again. Probably not for the division, but at least for a wild card spot. And because that's what the team needs. Because once all this team has to do is get to the playoffs, and anything could happen then. We could see them maybe make it to the conference championship if they get lucky enough. They can piece something together, but we'll see. Or maybe they just lose this next week to the Packers and just decide to blow everything up. So now we'll move on to our upsets and double downs and picks. So Zeke on the top of the leaderboard. Start off with his upset of the week. His upset of the week is the Colts over the Saints. So this is our only split this week. He's going with the Colts, and so is Sean. And Peyton and I are both going with the Saints. I still have a lot of faith in the Saints. PT probably just picking the Saints because he's picked the Saints the last 2 weeks and they've lost. So he's probably just doing that for the greater good in his eyes. The Colts have been very impressive. Even though they haven't been winning games, they're being really competitive in a year that they really shouldn't be. With Gardner Minshew as their quarterback. They almost beat the Browns last week. Very questionable calls there late in the game. But yeah, good split game here. This one could go either way, in my opinion. Sean's upset of the week is the Giants over the Jets, the Battle of New York. He's the only one going with the Giants there. We're all going with the Jets. The Jets have been, one of the top defenses this year. The Giants offense has not looked good. Giants defense hasn't looked good. But they played well against the Bills 2 weeks ago. And then they won last week to... Did they? I swear they did. Oh, yeah, they beat the Commanders, in a 14-7 game. So offense can't do that much, but their defense stepped up. So we'll see if Zach Wilson and company can get the job done. But Sean going with the Giants for his upset. My upset of the week, I'm going the Vikings over the Packers. Now it's a very mild upset. And the only one disagreeing with Peyton, Sean, and I is, I guess, Zeke. Zeke's going with the Packers there. I liked Peyton's overreaction. I think that the Vikings have a very good opportunity to turn their season around right now, and I'm expecting them to go on a little run here. Jordan Addison has proven that he is on a similar trajectory to Justin Jefferson, not to the main extent, that's superstardom, second year in the league. I don't think Jordan Addison is going to be on that, but closer to that than not, in my opinion. So I think that the Vikings have something going. And if they don't win this game, then they're probably looking to trade at the trade deadline. But if they win this, I believe that's 4-4. And, you're back in that wild card hunt. Peyton's upset is the Titans over the Falcons. So going against his team here. So I don't know if that's for the moral victory as well. He's the only one going against the Falcons. They just traded Kevin Byard. So I don't think that this Titans defense is going to be all too scary. I could maybe even see them trading in the next day or two, maybe some more pieces, whether that's Derrick Henry or DeAndre Hopkins, Ryan Tannehill, if he's healthy enough to be traded. But I think the Falcons, although they haven't looked super spectacular in the last few weeks, they've still gotten some wins. And I think that this is another good game for the Falcons to win, so they keep riding high on that division. Moving on to the double downs, we got Zeke, and what do you know? Something other than the Eagles. He's going with the Ravens over the Cardinals. So we all agree that we're going with the Ravens here. But you know, if Zeke's not going with the Eagles, he's going with his boy Lamar Jackson. Like I said, I'm still not big on Lamar. He had a great game this last week, but the Lions defense was just due. But yeah, I think the Ravens over the Cardinals is a very good double down, especially because the Cardinals, could be kind of tanking for some better picks potentially this upcoming year. So yeah, good double down on the Ravens. Sean's double down. Chargers over the Bears. This is the Sunday night football game. The Chargers have been looking pretty good, in some games. They played a decent game against the Chiefs this last week. In the end, the Chiefs just had more firepower. The Bears getting the job done against the Raiders, putting up, I believe, 30. But, at home Sunday night, I think this offense for the Chargers is clicking. Justin Fields might not be playing. That Chargers defense still is pretty scary, even though they're giving up a lot of points and yards. With Khalil Mack, I think Bosa still might be out. He might be back. But yeah, we all agreed with the Chargers here. My double down for the week is the Lions over the Raiders. This is the Monday night football game. We all agree here. We're going with the Lions. The Raiders Josh McDaniels has proven to me that I can't trust him. If I could, I will double down against the Raiders every week from here on out. Zeke was double downing on the Eagles every week. I might just do the opposite with my team because I'm not a huge fan of Josh McDaniels and what he's doing to this team right now. And I think that the Lions can't have two bad games in a row. They just can't. So I'm going with the Lions, and we all agree. And Peyton's double down is the Dolphins over the Patriots. They already faced once this year, and the Dolphins came out on top. And we all agree that the Dolphins are going to win this game too. Tyreek Hill can be up for MVP. I think Akane might be coming back, or he might be gone for a couple more weeks. They still have Raheem Mostert. Another team Dolphins play to their competition. They win the games they're supposed to. I'm expecting this to be the exact same. Now moving on to just our normal picks. Thursday night football game, the Buccaneers and Bills. We all agree that the Bills are going to take care of business. I really wanted to go with the Buccaneers here because the Buccaneers played, even though they lost by 2 touchdowns, they played a really good game against the Lions 2 weeks ago. And they played a good game against the Falcons this last week. But the Bills, at home, it's going to be cold. Baker is starting to look like the Baker we know and love. So we all went with the Bills here. Next, Rams-Cowboys. We all went with the Cowboys here. Cowboys coming off of a bye week. The Rams did not look good against the Steelers. They should have won that game easily, and they just let the game fall apart on them. I don't see this Rams team moving forward like they were, and we all got the Cowboys here. Jaguars Steelers, only one person disagreed, and Zeke's going with the Steelers, while Peyton, Sean, and I are going with the Jaguars. The Jaguars are hitting their stride. They were one of the best teams last year from, I think it was week 10 to the end of the season, week 9 to the end of the season, where they only lost 3 games. They lost 4 games since week 10 to now last year. And 3 of those have been to the Chiefs. They lost 1 other game that wasn't to the Chiefs since then. And once I heard that stat, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So I think that Jaguars are in a good position. This is a good tune-up game for some other games that they have coming up. I know they have to play the Bengals at some point. They have to play the Bills. Or no, they already played the Bills. So they have to play the Bengals soon. So this is going to be a good game to kind of tune up. But that Steelers defense is the reason that they have won 4 games. They put them in positions to get short field opportunities because Matt Canada can't call good plays, and that offense is very streaky. They don't have go-to guys. They need lucky plays. I mean, so does everyone else. But that defense, it's so easy to score when you're already starting in the red zone for half your touchdown drives. Eagles Commanders, we all agree going the Eagles here. Anyone who might have been doubting them, maybe me a little bit, maybe Peyton. I don't know. I can't speak for him, but the Eagles have proven me wrong that they can compete. They that Jets week might have just been a fluke. On the primetime game, they showed out and they played probably their best game of the season, and they beat the Dolphins. And I think that even though the Commanders gave them a run for their money there when they played a few weeks ago, we think that the Eagles are going to take care of business. The last of the noon games is the Texans-Panthers. We all are going with the Texans here. This is going to be a very fun game to watch. Not necessarily because it's going to be a good game, but we're going to see Bryce Young and CJ Stroud go at it. Both of these guys coming off of a bye week, so they've been preparing for each other. This is pick number 1 versus pick number 2. We actually had this as one of our top 10 games to watch at the beginning of the season. And yeah, I would like to see how this game turns out. CJ Stroud having a good year. Texans, I think 3-4, maybe 4-3. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they're having a good season. Panthers still trying to figure out what they want to do, who they're going to try to build around, because that could be another team that could be trading at the trade deadline as well. 3:05 game, we got the Browns and Seahawks. One person disagreeing here, and that's Zeke. Zeke's going with the Browns here, even though Jerome Ford is going to be out for a week or two. Sean Payton and I are going with the Seahawks. I think that this is a good opportunity for the Seahawks to keep rolling. They beat the Cardinals last week. They came just a little short to the Bengals. And right now, if you're the Seahawks, you're thinking, maybe we could sneak out and win this division. The 49ers haven't looked the best these last few weeks. They look vulnerable. If you keep winning this, if you're going to win the division, you have to win a game like this. The Chiefs are playing the Broncos for the second time in 3 weeks. That was kind of bad scheduling there. But Zeke is going with the Broncos. He's thinking that they're going to end the streak of like 15 or 16 times in a row that the Chiefs have beaten the Broncos. While Sean Payton and I are all going with the Chiefs. I thought about double downing on them again against the Broncos, but the Broncos like to make things interesting. It's a little closer in Denver, so I think that Chiefs are going to take care of business, but Broncos are due. They beat the Packers, they beat the Bears. They've won a few games now, but we'll see. And then the last game that we'll talk about, 3:25, the Bengals and 49ers. We all agree with the 49ers, but I would not be surprised if the Bengals win this one. I wanted to go with the Bengals here, but it's hard for me to see the 49ers drop 3 in a row. And plus, the Bengals, they're 3-3. If they lose this game, they're 3-4. But guess what? They were 4-4 last year after their first 8 games. I think they'll be fine. This isn't a must-win for them. Right now the division leader is the Ravens. Not that scary of a team, even though they've already lost to them. And the Steelers are right there ahead of them too. But I don't think that you need to panic. Just play a good game here. If you can get it, good. If not, you just gotta just win the division games from here on out. So that's our picks, upsets, and double downs for week 8. Next week, we'll be talking about the trade deadline reactions to trades that have happened. We'll talk about Kevin Byard. We'll talk about anything else that happens. We didn't really we predicted a little bit of stuff last week, but so far none of it's happened. So we'll see if any of those hit. But once again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP. Follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. I have Sam Holcroft. Thanks for listening.